Okay, so let's dive right into one of the most maddening experiences in personal finance. You've done everything right, you've built up a great credit score, you apply for that card you've been wanting, and boom, rejected. Today, we're going to solve that mystery. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If this has ever happened to you, trust me, you are not alone. It is an incredibly common frustration. So let's peel back the curtain and see what's really going on behind the scenes. So you've hit that magic 750 credit score, maybe even higher. You're thinking, I'm a shoo-in, no problem. But as so many people have found out the hard way, a great score is often not enough. Let's break down the biggest myth there is when it comes to getting approved. This right here is the absolute key. You got to think of your credit score like a ticket to get into an amusement park. It gets you through the front gate, for sure, but it doesn't mean you can get on every single ride. That's right. While you're obsessing over that one big number, the bank's algorithm is looking at more than a dozen other things about you. They have a secret checklist, and your score? Well, that's just item number one. So what's actually on this secret checklist? We've looked at hundreds of rejection cases to figure out the patterns, the things banks will never tell you directly. Let's pull back the curtain on the hidden criteria that really decide your fate. Okay, this is one of the biggest silent killers of applications, your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. It's actually pretty simple. If all your existing loan payments add up to more than 40% of your monthly income, banks start seeing you as a big risk. As you can see here, once you get up to a high number like 60%, it's pretty much an automatic no matter how awesome your score is. And your DTI is just the beginning. Banks are obsessed with stability. Hopping between 3 jobs in the last year and a half, that's a huge red flag. Applying for some super fancy premium card on a starter salary, that's a mismatch. Firing off applications for 5 different cards in 2 months, that makes you look credit hungry. And even simple slip-ups, like an old salary slip or just not picking up the phone for a verification call, can sink your entire application. Let's make this real with an example. So there's a software engineer. Great salary, 750 score, gets rejected. The hidden reason? The bank saw him as a flight risk because he'd changed jobs a bit too much and was still on probation. The solution was just patience. He waited 6 months until his job was confirmed, permanent, reapplied, and got approved. And here's another one. An accountant with a fantastic 780 score gets rejected. Why? His DTI was a massive 65% because of some other loans. So for him, it wasn't about waiting. It was about taking action. He paid down a chunk of a personal loan, which dropped his DTI to a much healthier 35%. And guess what? He was approved on the next try. Okay, so if these are the real reasons, why are the rejection letters always so vague? Does not meet our internal criteria. Why all the secrecy? Well, it turns out banks have some very specific business reasons for keeping quiet. First off, it's legal protection. Vague reasons mean they can't be accused of discrimination. Second, their exact approval rules are their secret sauce. It's a proprietary algorithm they don't want their competitors figuring out. And finally, let's be real, it's just not practical. They get thousands of applications a day. They can't give everyone detailed feedback. All right, so you've been rejected, and now you have a much better idea of why. Now for the most important part. What do you do next? Here is the exact blueprint to turn that rejection into an approval. The very first thing to do is stop. Just stop. Do not immediately go apply at another bank. This spray and pray approach is literally the worst thing you can do. Every new application hits your report as a hard inquiry, which just makes you look more and more desperate, digging that hole even deeper. Instead, you're going to follow this timeline. Week 1, you investigate. Pull your credit reports from all the major bureaus and really analyze them. Month 1, you improve. Pay down some balances to lower your credit utilization and look for any errors to dispute. Then, for the next 3 to 6 months, you stabilize. You just wait. Let those inquiries get older. Then, and only then, do you reapply, and you do it strategically to just one bank. This is the key number to remember: 6. 6 months. It is the golden rule. This pause gives your credit profile time to heal and it proves to lenders that you're patient and responsible, not just acting on impulse. Okay, so you have the recovery plan down. Now let's move on to some pro-level strategies. These are the kinds of insider tips that can give you a serious edge the next time you decide to apply. So, a rookie applies whenever they feel like it. A pro? A pro applies at the end of a quarter when banks are hustling to hit their targets. A rookie goes straight for the fanciest, most premium card. A pro uses a step-up approach. They start with a more basic card, build a solid history, and then upgrade. And maybe most importantly, a rookie applies as a total stranger, while a pro builds a relationship first. And that last point is absolutely crucial. Having an existing relationship with a bank, like a savings account or a salary account, makes you a known quantity. They trust you more. In fact, the data shows it can triple your chances of getting approved compared to a brand new customer. Opening an account 6 months before you apply for a card, that is one of the smartest moves you can possibly make. Ultimately, this whole thing boils down to this one shift in mindset. You have to stop trying to convince a bank to want the profile you have right now. Instead, you need to focus on becoming the profile they already want to say yes to. At the end of the day, a rejection isn't personal. It's algorithmic. Your credit profile is telling a story, and the bank's system just didn't like the plot. But the good news is you're the author of that story. So you can take a step back, look at the whole picture, and ask yourself, what story do I want my profile to tell next?